How's it going, team? Welcome back to another episode of the Average Jack podcast, where we bring you inspiring stories and practical advice from real life achievers. I'm your host, Jack McKeenan, and today we've got another exciting guest for you. Joining us is actor Connor Calland, who you might recognise from his time in Hollyoaks, the Netflix smash hit Stay Close, and even the likes of Doctor Who, among many others. Connor has been making waves in the acting world, and today we're diving into his journey. We'll be talking about his experience in drama school, landing that all-important first big gig, and what it's like to navigate the twists and turns of the entertainment and acting industry. We also get into how Connor stays grounded amidst all, and how he deals with the pros and cons of being in the limelight and fame. Before we dive in, a quick shout out to our sponsor, Vidibus Strength. They've got some incredible fitness gear, and you can snag 20% off with the code AverageJack at www.vidibusstrength.co.uk. And as always, for more content and updates about what I'm up to, head over to www.jackmckeenan.co.uk. All the descriptions, Connor's socials, them websites I mentioned will all be below in the description. Now, let's jump into it for another fascinating conversation with Connor. Peace.
Nice little bit. So,
Have you been?
all right, yeah. Yourself?
Long time.
How's everything?
Good, mate. Big wheel keeps on turning, as they say. Just chipping away. What about yourself?
Same, really. Just everything keeps moving. Got to fucking catch up to it, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly, mate. There's no rest for the wicked, as they say.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Nice one for jumping on with me. I appreciate
Ah,
it.
nice, all good, man. Thanks for asking.
No, I felt a bit cheeky just coming out at blue and just being like, fancy jumping on.
No, don't be daft.
But I thought people might like to see, the insight of what it's like to be an actor, a bit of a thespian in day-to-day life.
Yeah. What unemployed?
Well, you can't say that, mate. You've been smashing it, to be fair. I mean, I've seen you a few times on things and just be like, there he is, there's the boy.
Creeping up.
Just
Can't get rid of that.
That's all you've got to do, I imagine. It's just about being there and being present.
Yeah, man. Exactly.
So, obviously, we've known each other quite a while, quite a long time, actually. But for people who don't know you, I think always the best place to start with people is sort of the beginning. So, what did young Connor look like, and what was sort of the goals back then? Did you expect to get and be where you are now?
Do you know something? Not in an arrogant way. A little bit. Maybe not as far as I am already, but I knew I'd do something in the creative field because I was naff at everything else. Do you know what I mean? I was just not that inclined to do anything else. So I knew I'd do something in it. I didn't think I'd be where I am at the minute. But yeah, I like, because we met doing Will and Away, doing acting classes and whatnot when, I can't remember how old I would have been then, like 12, 11, somewhere, maybe slightly older. And then I remember when I was at school before I joined the classes, I remember my mum and dad was basically like, because I didn't really socialise loads when I was at primary school, they just was like, we need to get you in some like clubs, try and make friends, basically, try and socialise. And I did some art classes because my mum was like, oh, you like drawing, so get you into some art classes and stuff. So I did that, and then my dad, being a bit more sporty, and he used to play a lot of football, he tried to get me to do football. So he was like, he went off and got like his qualifications and he could be the school football coach and all that. So then I did that for a bit, and then I did jiu-jitsu with my dad for a while. And then I went to Will and Way to the drama class, and I thought, I like this. I like making people laugh. I like just not being myself for a bit, for a couple of hours a week, and just playing pretend, basically, and then just stuck with it. Do you know what I mean?
It's funny you mentioned that about sort of not being yourself. I feel like there's a perception to people who do acting, and definitely myself included on this, that people sort of see you as super confident, super outgoing. But I find a lot of the time it's quite the opposite. It's just you like to sort of I did anyway, to sort of put your blockade up, not show yourself and be somebody else and sort of get like praise and accolades, making people laugh, people saying, oh, that was good.
That was good,
yeah. Doing it under the sort of the facade of somebody else. And like, I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was something I was going to ask you. So is that still something that's prominent with you now? Is it just sort of like...
Not as much, I'd say. I think since, because I went to drama school after college, so it's like drama school, I don't know if everyone will know what it is exactly. It's like uni, basically. It's like you get the same qualification over as uni, but it's practical. There's little to no written work at all, which again just suited me just because dyslexic, I'm not the best at all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I think since I graduated, like that instilled a lot of confidence in myself, in like what I was like, I'm worth a bit of something, because if drama school's taking me on, because I think it's like anywhere between 2,000 to 4,000 people can apply and they accept 22 in a year. So I was like, if they've got enough confidence to give me a place to study there, I've got a bit of something worthwhile, surely. It took a while to like get rid of that imposter syndrome, but yeah, I think now I'm more comfortable being myself in front of a camera. But it's weird, like it's easier being myself with somebody else's words in front of a camera. But like this sort of stuff, or like whenever I get asked to go and do like a Q&A, or come do a talk in front of, like, not so long ago I got asked to go back to my old primary school to like speak to the kids and all that sort of stuff, and like it was like an awards night to like say a bit about myself and help hand out some awards. It was great, they were fab, but like I was bricking it for like a week leading up to it. I was like, what do I say? Because I swear a lot, so I was like, I can't swear. I can't do that. And I'm like, they're all looking at me like, half of them, majority of them don't know who I am, because I'm not like bloody Tom Cruise walking in through the door. But it, like the parents, like I'll recognise some of the parents because I went to primary school with them.
Yeah.
Or I knew them when I was growing up, so like they know it's just talk. Like I just didn't know what I was doing. But when it's somebody else's words, it's easier to put a bit of like me into that, which is weird saying.
No, I think maybe not everyone will resonate sort of with it unless they've done maybe acting or public speaking, but I definitely get what the point that you bring in, because I always thought, obviously I've not done sort of auditions to the level of like what you've done, because obviously you've been on TV, you've done film and stuff like that, but I always found doing the piece or the monologue, or the read, easier than sort of going in and introducing yourself and stuff like that. Do you feel like that, or did you feel like that?
I did feel like that. It's weird. It's so weird. It's just like the chit chat like this now is relaxed, because I know you're like it's calm. It's all that. And like if I'm in a room with a casting director, as much as it's nervy, it's just a chit chat. Like that. It's not it's not formal. It's not like they're not bothered about your qualifications or anything like that. I'm not about. They're not asking about your CV. So it is just like, how was the train? What have you been up to? Been watching football, like Euros, all that sort of stuff. But when it comes to like, okay, now tell us about your life, tell us about this, and it's in a formal setting, all of a sudden like that, everything's out of there. So I feel it's such a weird dynamic. I feel when you're in certain situations, like your head can just completely go away, and then in other ones it can really just thrive.
And I bet people will obviously like think that's absolutely bizarre, because obviously you've gone on, you've been sort of successful, you've been and done things, but like it's almost like wearing two masks, isn't it? And when you went to drama school, did they address that sort of, you're sort of in this like embryonic stage of being like an actor? Because when you've done it for so long, I found when we was at college and stuff, and then you're sort of faced with the decision to like put all your chips on the table, or just do, because it is sort of it's the tipping edge, isn't it? And you've got to really make a decision, and fair play to you, mate, because people probably think that like they'll probably hear saying, "Oh, you went to drama school, and you did that," but it's fucking regimented, isn't it? Like it's not quite like the uni experience.
It's so different. I think people think, because I say drama school, like anytime you tell someone, oh, I do acting, or I did drama at school or whatever, like, like when I did acting at college, like you get hazed, you get people take the piss, or like they try and take the piss or whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, whatever, crack on, go carry on with whatever you're doing. But like drama school is so regimented. Like your classes start at 9, you finish at 6 p.m. Monday to Friday. Like you're occasionally on weekends rehearsing, like on a Saturday rehearsing, and that's like for the full 3 years. Do you know what I mean? It's not like you just do one term like that. Like that's every day. It's all practical, so it's not like you're knackered because you're going to an emotional place, but you're doing stuff. So like, I remember like the days split. So it's like your morning is like your foundation stuff. So you'll do voice, movement, stage combat. You'll do dance, singing, all that sort of stuff in the morning for 4 hours, and then your evening is like, or your afternoon evening is like, whatever your subject is, like Shakespeare, improv, contemporary dialogue, whatever it is. But like, if ever you've cried, like I mean, like sobbed crying, you're drained afterwards. You're knackered after, aren't you?
Yeah.
But you're doing it for like a full day. It's like you're going to an emotional peak like that. Then also you're going, right, okay, run around and do laps around the room and do press ups, and that's just your one of your stage combat. No, learn a routine. It's like physically you're drained, emotionally you're drained. So you get back to your like halls or your flat, and you're just like, you're like in a vegetable state because you're like, I can't function.
Literally got nothing left. Pure
got nothing.
Ian Beale meme. Just got nothing left. Just gone.
I've got pot like pouring at my ears because I just can't cook anything. So it was just, it was like 3 years of doing that. So like you're very regimented when you leave, and then like drama school, as a lot of people say who've been, it's very like a bubble. Like you're in this very closed, contained space with 22 to 30 people, like when the MAs join on as well. And it's just that's your world for 3 years. And then after that you graduate, you go, right, okay, into the real world, in a bit. And then you're out there, you're like, oh, how does everything work? Because like you get kind of taught it in theory, but then you've kind of got to just do it.
Yeah, the practicals, I imagine, is completely different to the theoretical. So what was that transition like? Because obviously, again, there's a lot of misconceptions, I think, with acting and drama school and this, but there's no guarantee once you go to drama school. There's no guarantee once you do that you're guaranteed work, you're guaranteed X, Y, and Z.
No.
So again, you've just sort of like been in this tight-knit bubble, this sort of community, which I want to touch on a little bit in a bit, but what is that transition like to be like, shit, this is it now. I've paid this amount of money, which is more than your normal education as well, isn't it? So you've got that hanging over you. And like, there's probably expectation of people as well. Because I even found when we was at college, obviously it was free, it was brilliant. I thought it was so good. But even then there was an expectation when you went to like a performing arts college that, but what are you going to do with it? But there's no guarantee, is there? And like, does that expectation weigh heavy on you after leaving college and then a drama school?
A little bit, yeah. It's the good thing. Maybe it's not the right mindset to watch it, which helped me get. But the good thing is, if you're doing acting, either you're earning next to nothing where you don't have to pay student loan back, or you're earning a really good amount of money where you don't have to worry about it. There's not really an in between. It's not like a normal job where you start off at like a base rate salary and you work your way up via promotion. It's just one job you could get like 600 quid for a week's worth of work, and then the next job you might get like 60 grand for a week's worth of work. You can't predict it. It's just, there's no predicting where you're going to be in like a week's time, let alone like a year's time, 5 years. So you've kind of just got to let go of that worry of like trying to pre-plan things. Like when I graduated, I was in a really fortunate position where partway through my third year, we did, as with a lot of drama schools, you do like your showcase. So basically you perform on stage it's literally just a room full of people who are in a position to employ you in some capacity, whether it's agent, casting director, producers, directors, other actors, writers, whatever. So we did that. I did like a duologue and a couple of like little bits with other people's scenes. And like I met quite a few agents, had a lot of meetings with agents who wanted to rep me. So I was really, really fortunate for that. signed with my still current agent, been with him since. Like, I think he's absolutely amazing. And he was really nice. Like, I think when I met with a lot of other agents, they were lovely, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the recurring themes that I kept getting told was, you're going to do that, like, you're going to do a load of TV, you're going to do a load of film, you're going to do this. I can see you doing, like, lead role in this. And just something in the back of my head was like, but you can't say that. You can't say, because who could have predicted, like, COVID?
Yeah.
Like, no one could have predicted that. You can't predict you can't say you're going to do that. Whereas with Darren, the definitive thing that made me sound with him, and he said it pretty much early in our meeting, was like, look, because of Brexit was the big thing at the time. He was like, I don't know what that's going to mean for international work, but I've got a lot of connections in film and TV in the UK, so I can get you a lot of auditions for that. I've got a good rapport with a lot of those casting companies. Radio, I'll probably struggle getting you some radio, but if you're desperate for it, I can reach out. Theatre, I can get you a lot of, like, main stage London theatre, but not so much regional work, just because there's so many regional theatres at the time. A lot of shut down since COVID, unfortunately. But he was like, if there's a regional theatre you really want to work at, let me know and I'll keep knocking on the door for you, basically. So he was just really transparent. He was like, I don't care where you live. If you want to, don't worry about moving to London, but I need to know that you're able to get to London within 24 hours if an audition comes up, and you're willing to go for it, because I don't want to put in a load of work to get you the audition and then you turn around and say, oh, I can't want to because it's too far or it's too expensive. Like, kind of need you to know that you're up for that. And then he didn't rush me to make a decision. He was like, look, read your contract, take a bit of time to think about it, have your other meetings if you've got any other meetings, and just let me know either way. Like, and I think that honesty and openness and just very sort of laid everything out in front of me, I was like, I really appreciate that. So yeah, actually, I think I'm going to go with you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And imagine that honesty is a massive part of it, because it's an industry just full of, like, well, you just give an example there, like, it's a lot of bump in it. It's a lot of, like, we'll guarantee you this, we'll do this. And I think when you're at a sort of but like you said, you've just come out of this environment where, you know, all your chips are on the table. And
well, it's so, like, it can be so, like, drama school, you're constantly getting told, like, your first couple of years are like, that shit, don't do that, get rid of that, stop doing that, fix this, do that, tweak that. Whereas then your third year, you just do perform. Well, for us, we just did back-to-back shows. So it's constantly people saying, oh, that was really good, you was great, loved you in that, loved this, that's amazing, you're really funny, you're really that. So you can start to think you're the big I am. And especially if you're at drama school in the first place, because of that knowing that it can be anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 people apply, but they only accept 22. It's very easy. And don't get me wrong, I probably slipped into that. Well, I definitely slipped into that mindset of thinking I'm the dog's bollocks, definitely. And I think when you graduate, if you don't get out of that mindset quick, you're up shit's creek, because you're going to get a slap around the face with a bit of reality.
So what?
People feeling like you're not funny.
Yeah.
No agents representing you. You're not getting an audition. You've not worked for however long since graduating. So, like, it's so easy to get that reality check, and it can hit hard, especially, like, if you're living in London as well, which a lot of actors do. They just go down because they feel it's the thing to do. Like, in London, working ridiculous hours just to pay like $1,500 rent for one room in a 4-bed flat somewhere in like East Finchley. So it's just like you can really mess yourself up, and then your headspace can just go with that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, digging that hole even deeper. But it's funny you said that then about going back. You obviously initially said about sort of getting in there and having that imposter syndrome, and then going right to the other end of that spectrum and sort of, you know, feeling sort of having like I'm not saying ego stroked, but I can imagine it very much is that. You've got people telling you you're really good, you've got all these agents lining up, trying to get your signature. How did you sort of combat that? How did you sort of reflect and be like, shit, I need to pull back here? Was there any sort of people you turned to, or was it sort of a self-reflection?
A bit of both. So the head of acting at Royal Welsh at the time, and I spoke to him a few times. He helped me through some tough stuff when I was at drama school, and he was like because he just knows he's been head of acting for that drama school for so long at the time, and he's worked, so he knew I was able to go and speak to him about who did he recommend agent-wise, the ones who have approached me. Friends from back home, like my best mate, Aidan, like, he'd keep me grounded. He'd just take the piss out of me constantly and was like, wind your neck in. People in my year group as well, just being like, because it's not like I was the only one who was getting meetings with agents. Like, there was other people in my year group who, a lot of people, nearly everybody in the year group was having at least 2 or 3 meetings. So it was like, okay, I'm not fucking special. I'm not any of that. Okay, you're just a little fish in a massive pond at this point. So just like, stay in your lane, keep focused, don't get distracted with, oh my God, they're meeting with a bigger agent, or oh my God, they're already getting an audition, oh my God, they've just booked a job, or they're out for a drink with such a body, or they're just working on this. Like, it's easy to derail yourself and distract yourself. So I think it's, a lot of it is, make sure you got a close support network around you who can just take the piss and make sure you don't get too big, like too big-headed. And then just remember, like, just got to focus on yourself.
Yeah, I love
really
that.
focus.
But something I wanted to ask, and you sort of mentioned something then, which segues very nicely into it. You mentioned about the tight-knit community at drama school and this bubble that you was in. So something that when I messaged you has just been playing on my mind. Sort of, acting is very competitive. I always thought it was anyway, even with like your friends and the people that you are close with. You still one day might be coming up against them for sort of a job or a role. Is it difficult to navigate that and sort of remove the emotion from the relationship and be like, again, I've got to focus on myself, but you know, I also don't want to necessarily fuck this person over. But for the grander scheme of things, it's dancing that dance, isn't it? And did you experience that in that bubble?
Not so much in the bubble. Just because, like, in as a cohort, as a year group, like, it was quite our year group anyway. It was quite a diverse year group. Like, I was the only one from the northwest of the UK. There was a couple of people from the north, like from Teesside and stuff like that. But like, as a year group, it was fairly. Even if you looked somewhat similar casting wise, like, your accent will be different.
Yeah.
Or you'll be different heights, or just like something will be different. Like, you're not that close that it's that competitive. So it wasn't, when I was at drama school, it wasn't something I was really thinking about, the competitive aspect of it. It was more when I graduated with like complete strangers. And I remember, like, early on, it's some of that really sticks with me, and then I adopted it, which I was a bit like, I shouldn't do that. But it was an actor, and I was in the room, and I didn't realise at the time, it's only till afterwards, like, he was trying to like get in my head about it. And he just like made little comments where he'd be like, oh, I know the casting director, and I'm friends with them, or we was out last week, had a few drinks last week with them, or speaking about how he's got a better opportunity, essentially.
Yeah.
And I'd start panicking in my head, being like, shit, well, I'm not going to get it. So then it, like, instantly you start doubting yourself. And then, like, I started doing it, where I'd be like, other actors would be in the waiting room. I'd be like, I'd see somebody learn, like, going over the script. I say, have you not learnt your lines yet? And I'd be like, I shouldn't say, why the fuck have I just said that? That's such a shit house thing to say.
Yeah.
And it's only until maybe like a year and a half ago, maybe a bit longer, I stopped doing that, where I was like, do you know something? If I'm not going to get the job, I'd rather it be someone I know who gets the job.
Yeah.
I'd rather it be a mate who gets the job. And that's happened a few times now. Like, there's a program out, or came out fairly recently, called Passenger. And you might know, do you know James Ryan?
Yeah.
So Jack got the role, but I went up for the same part as him.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really want this role. I really want this role. And I thought, I smashed the audition. I knew the director. I knew the casting director. I thought, all right, surely I've got to get this in the bag here.
Yeah.
Jack got it, and I was like, do you know something? I should be really pissed off that I didn't get it. Like, I love Jack. Jack knows I love him to bits, but like, I was like, I should get this. But then I was like, do you know something? If I'm not going to get it, ultimately, I want it to be a mate who gets it. I want it to be someone I know who gets it.
Yeah.
Because you want to see your mates succeed, you want to see everybody around you do well. Like, and I think, like I said, I think that only really started happening for me like a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, where I started thinking like that. So yeah, like competitive wise at drama school, not so much. It's only really when I started graduating, that first couple of years after I graduated, where I was like, oh, people are not as nice as when you're at drama school. Like, you start to see a bit of the industry.
Yeah. It's funny that you when you said then about sort of not getting it, you thought you was assuming for it. How difficult is that to sort of, maybe not so much now, because like you said, you've done it for a while, you've been in the role, you've got roles, you've missed out on roles, but initially, how difficult is that to come to terms with? Of like, I've just done all this training, I've paid all this money, and it's just not fucking landing for me. How do you battle that?
It's hard. Because it's not like, I think that's the other thing that people don't see as much. I think people who aren't in the industry go, oh yeah, I kind of knew that, but they don't see like the depth of it. Like, I'd say, I don't know this is a fact to be fair, but like, I'd say Darren submits me for like a load of auditions. Maybe not so much at the minute, just because of like the industry's quite quiet as a whole. But like, he'll put me forward for as much as he physically can put me forward for, and then I might get one audition out of 100 submissions, and then out of that one audition, I might not even bag it. I might not even get a recall.
Yeah.
So it's like the odds are always just against you from the get go. And then in a position like that with Jack getting that role, I think like it can feel tough at first because you're like, oh, but I've worked my ass off. Like, you feel you deserve it sometimes.
Yeah.
I think you've just like, it's just a job. It's fine. It's all right. No one's coming round. Another one will come around. Something will always come around. It might take a bit of time. You might have to keep yourself occupied in between, but something will always come. And I think having a life outside of acting and learning is very important to keep that sort of distraction going. But like I said, like, I've been really fortunate with work and really fortunate with like networking and auditioning. And like my first year, I was auditioning or having a recall, or I was doing something like once or twice a week for like a full year and a half. So like, I was busy, so it was tough to sort of adjust from going from doing something twice a week to then all of a sudden COVID hit.
Yeah.
And then nobody's employed, so everyone's in the same boat. So it's like, oh, I can't even complain about it because it's not like it's just me; it's everybody.
Yeah. And then it's sort of that. It's like that communal thing, then, isn't it? You sort of all got that one thing to sort of like get camaraderie about.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Did you see, like, you mentioned about, people like shithousing and, doing like not underhand tactics, a bit of mind games and stuff. After COVID, everyone's been in a similar boat in the acting industry and like the world. Did the camaraderie shine through a bit more because people might have had a bit more of an understanding?
I think so, yeah. But it's hard because like we went from. I'd probably say I had like an in-person meet of some, whether it's an audition or a recall or whatever, or just a general meeting, like maybe once a week before COVID. Like, I was doing Hollyoaks just before COVID as well. So like before that, I was probably meeting like once a week in person, doing something, once a month, sorry, in person. And like now, in-person auditions, like, they're so scarce. Like, everything's over self-tape now or Zoom.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It's not nice. Like, I'd rather it be in person because you can make a bit of an impression. But
yeah, definitely.
From a production perspective, like, you don't have to hire a space. You don't have to pay for the director's time, the casting director's time, and assistant's time. You don't have to like pay for travel for some of the actors if they're coming from quite a distance away. You don't have to set aside like a full day of work just to see like 10 people. Like, if I send self-tapes out, I can see like 50 people in a day. Just sat on my couch.
Yeah, just becomes a conveyor belt.
Yeah, and it's convenient, and it's like I can understand that from a casting perspective. But so going back to like what you said, like I think that sort of togetherness, that community is more present now. But you just don't see it as often just because you don't get a chance to be in that sort of audition circumstance with other people as much.
So you mentioned Hollyoaks then. So we may as well get into it and sort of talk about the success. We've talked a bit about, the not so much success and like not getting the jobs and that. What was it like to bag that first role, being like, look, I'm going to be doing this on this, and I'm going to be, people are going to be able to be like, fucking hell, that's that guy.
It was mad because I didn't want the job. If I'm being brutally honest, when I first auditioned, I didn't really want the job because I was in that arrogant sort of headspace that I was chatting about. So the audition came through, and I'd met Peter Hunt, the casting director, in my final year at drama school, and he was talking about Hollyoaks, and he did like a little thing where he went around the circle and said, say name and say fun fact about yourself. And I like so much because I'm like, but it's just not going to be a fun fact, is it? Let's be honest.
No.
And like everyone went round and he basically said they weren't fun. They were shit facts, basically. They were like, I can't hold it against them because they were shit.
That's fucking brutal, that.
I was like, hi, I'm Connor, and I used to work at Man United in the Megastore. I'm like, who gives a shit? Who cares? So I kind of get it, but like I held a weird grudge about it. I was like, oh, he's the guy who just didn't like me working at Man United.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything personal against me, but for some reason I didn't mind.
Yeah.
And I'd auditioned for Hollyoaks previously, and it was a bit of a cattle mark audition, so I wasn't a big fan of that. And then the self-tape came through, and I was sofa surfing down in London with a couple of friends from my year group at drama school, and it came through, and I was like, I really can't be arsed doing it. I was like, I'll just do it and get it. I'll just send it off. I'm not going to put much effort into it. And my friend Olivia helped me. Did the self-tape, didn't think anything of it. I just sent it and forgot about it. And like 2 days later, I get a phone call from my agent saying, oh, they want to meet you up in Liverpool for a recall, I think it was. So I was like, yeah, all right, okay, whatever. I went up, did the recall. Again, I think it helped me because the character was meant to be a bit of an arse.
Yeah.
So I went up and I was just a bit like, yeah, whatever, let's do it, let's go for it. Did the recall, forgot about it, and I was back with my mum and dad's at that point. And I get another phone call like the next day being like, oh, they want you to go back and do a screen test. So I was like, right, okay. Like I'm really like in my head wondering, why do they keep asking me to go back? So I'm just giving you nothing. And I went back and like by that point I was like, right, okay, I kind of want the job now because I was like, it is a good job. I need to stop being like, get out of that ego mindset and just be like, it's a good job this, and this could be quite pivotal. So I went I did proper prep work, and I was like, right, okay, let's do this. Turned up to the screen test, and Peter Hunt was lovely. He was so nice, and he was like, look, the exec producers in there, directors in there, and a couple of people are in there. They really want, a couple of people have already been in and they've done well, but like they want to see someone fucking like go for it, like all guns blazing. So I was like, okay, if that's what you want, that I'll do that. So I remember I went in and I was doing a screen test with Neve, who plays Juliet, and Ellis. I can't remember his character's name now. If Hollyoaks fans are going to crucify me for that. I was in with Ellis and Neve, and we did the screen test, and I just, like, Neve's tiny, she looks like a 14-year-old schoolgirl, and I just, like, screamed. I was like, right, I was going for it. I was going to try and kill her. And I could just see Brian, the exec producer, behind the camera. So I was like, right, if I don't get this, I'm fuming. Like, 2 days later, I got a phone call from agent saying, yeah, they want to offer you a 6-month contract. And then I did a month, and then they offered me an extension to make it a full year. So yeah, I'd gone from being a bit arrogant. I say a bit arrogant. I was quite arrogant when I first got the audition through. To then all of a sudden, I was like, thank Christ I got out of my head and actually was thankful and grateful for that opportunity, because that's the other thing. Like, there's so many. I think there's like 90,000 actors on Spotlight.
Yeah.
So like, out of all those actors, I got an audition. I got a self-tape, I got an opportunity to actually get a job. Like, and I think that's you've got to have that mindset.
So a lot of gratitude for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you don't have to be like, kissing asses or anything like that, but just like that. Do you know something? Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
There's
So,
a
yeah.
lot of, it seems, it's the fine margins, isn't it? You talk about ego and imposter syndrome, but you don't want to go in at either end of them spectrums. You want to find that little right thing, because you want to go in and, like you said, make that impression, of that personality, have that persona, but you don't want to come across like a prick and like, God, this lad thinks he's this, that, and they're like, God, he was a bit like in his shell, wasn't he? So, and then you've just said then about, you know, having the gratitude for the jobs and stuff like that, not taking it as like, oh my God, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me, I'm never going to do anything else, and also not like turning your nose up it. And is that when you've obviously come from, like you said, having that ego and that, when you get the job, is it hard to not sort of tilt back towards the like, I'm the best thing since sliced bread sort of mindset?
A little bit, yeah. It can be tricky. I think it wasn't something that affected me too much in the sense, like, as grateful as I am for Hollyoaks, and like that was one of my best experiences because I was just on set every day. That was like my first big gig where I got to be a character and actually do it and experience that sort of day-to-day life of an actor. But because it's not a show that I sit down and watch personally, in the sense of like I'd sit and watch it religiously, I'd constantly have in my head and be like, well, it's not a Netflix drama, or it's like a feature film. So like that kept grinding me quite a lot, to be like, Justin, it's not quite there. I'm not quite where I want to be. I'm not in something I'm going to watch just yet. And I think, like, I've just done a job, which I can't really talk about too much, but I've just done a job where it is something that I'd watch. And it is something that I'm looking forward to watching when it comes out. Not because the fact that I'm fucking in it, but like, it's all about me. No.
Yeah. No.
It's got a cast, an unreal cast, like people who like got me into doing acting, was like the reason why I'm acting. So it's like, that's something where I'm like, I'm so looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
But like, even then, like, my headspace hasn't gone to that ego place that it used to go to. So yeah, it's a weird one. It is a weird one.
You mentioned, obviously, when you were, not for Dobby in it again, but when you forgot the character name, you was on about like the Hollyoaks fans and stuff. How is that? I imagine that's such a mad sort of transition to sort of, because obviously it's a soap, it's got a massive, massive following. And I can imagine as soon as you're on that show, you are then a known entity. There'll be people in the street being like, is that that guy from Hollyoaks? How as an everyday person, because, you know, like, I've known you're a down to earth guy and things like that. But as soon as you step outside, you sort of then, you're in the forefront of people's attention.
It's bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers, I'm telling you. Like, I got it a little bit like my first TV job was Doctor Who. And I did like 5 lines in this Doctor episode. And I got told, because I had a few mates, a guy called Scott Hancock, who's unreal. He was like, oh, be ready for the Doctor Who fandom to come to you. And I was like, no, I've done 5 lines in a Doctor Who episode. No one's coming for me, trust me. But like, I was on page 3 of The Sun, like, because my character got killed off by a Dalek.
Yeah.
And it was gay, so like The Sun and like a load of newspapers like, Doctor Who kills off gay character. It's like my face was in like magazines everywhere. I was like, oh my God, what is happening? This is mental. And I was getting like fan letters for like a month. Like, I was getting letters like twice a week from like all like people from Australia, America, like all over the place. It was mental. Just being like, can you sign this? Can you send it back and sign it for my collection? And like, obviously these are people who have been watching Doctor Who from the start, or have watched it partway through, gone back to the start and watched it all the way through.
Yeah.
People like photograph collectors, like, and like that was my first experience of being like, oh my God, this is like, this is real. This is like, people give a shit.
Yeah.
People actually really give a shit. It's not just like, as much as it's just a job for like us on this side, like, it can really mean a lot to people who are watching it, like even a small role. So I think early on I was very like respectful of that, and like, okay, even if I'm not a fan of it, other people are, and other people care. So you've got to give it the respect that it deserves. You really do, even if you're not a fan. And then fast forward to Hollyoaks. They film like 3 months out of sync. So like, I was there for like 3 months, 2-3 months, And I was turning up on set, and like there'd be fans waiting at the gates for some of the cast every Friday. So I'd be walking past them, and they'd be looking at me like, "Don't recognise you, but you don't look like you're a crew member." All that stuff. So it was like 2 months of like I was incognito mode. I was like, right, it's class. And then my episode aired, like mental. Well, I got announced before the episode aired, and like my social media following went from like 300 people to like 10,000 in a week, and I was like, oh shit. And then it went up again, and then it just kept growing and growing. And like I was having like Instagram pages dedicated to just me and my character, like fan accounts. I get sent letters constantly, like gifts. Like there was a fan who ran my account called Sarah. She's so lovely. She used to run my account and somebody else's sort of fan account, and she'd be at the gates every Friday, like have photos. And like, I think people hearing this will probably go, "Oh, that's a bit intense," but it's so. I don't know. It's weird because it's like it weirdly instead of like boosting your ego, it weirdly grounds you.
Yeah,
because you're just like, this is why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
You want to make an impression for people, and like clearly this character or this storyline or this relationship or whatever it is means something to that person. So it was great. And then even when I left the show, like I was still getting like I'd go to the supermarket and like people would follow me around the supermarket for like 20 minutes, and then they'd say, "Can I have a photo?"
Yeah, just making sure it's you, like looking when you're IMBD going, I think it's this guy. I think it's this guy.
He's got a beard now, so I can't quite tell.
Yeah, but he didn't have that. He didn't have that big beard, like, but I think it might be him.
Yeah, so it's like it's weird. I used to get recognised. I'd say like if I was out, it could be like every day. If I was out, because I used to live in Liverpool for when I filmed.
Yeah.
So I'd be out on the street doing like my Tesco big shop, or like going to the gym or whatever it is, and like people would be like, "Oh my god, is that you, Jordan from Hollyoaks? Can I get a photo? Oh, can I get a pic? Can I get a video? Can you say hi to my mate?" Like, yeah. Best one is like it's guys who'll come up to you and be like, "Oh, my girlfriend loves Hollyoaks. Can you get a photo for her?" And I was like, "Is it your girlfriend or is it you?" It's okay.
Yeah. It's okay, mate. You can admit it. We're all mates here.
We're all mates. If you want to just say it's fine.
Yeah, texting his missus going, "Oh my god, I fucking met him. I met him." So like,
I don't do it anymore, which is nice, but I'm kind of like, oh, it's a shame. It's quite a nice. Like, I can
imagine it's a very nice feeling, like to sort of, like you said, it goes back to that. Yeah, like, it's that recognition of like, oh, I'm a part of this thing that is bigger than me, and I'm also must be doing, something relatively well for them to, want to engage with me, be nice to me, this, that, and the other. It's very reassuring, I imagine.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's just nice having people. It's like if you're at work, whatever job you do, and someone says you're doing good, you're doing a good job.
Yeah,
like well done. That's what it is. It's a constantly just being told well done. So it is a nice feeling.
So going from Hollyoaks to the next big gig, which would have been Stay Close at that point. Netflix, was it that one?
Yeah, Stay Close.
Yeah. So you mentioned before about being on that Netflix drama. I mean, that was a massive success as well. The show, generally. I mean, it was filmed some of it was filmed where I work. So like,
nice.
It was just crazy to see like the production, and then you watch it, and they were in there for like the scene was about 3 minutes, if that, and you're like, oh, maybe they were there for about 4 days. So that's another thing that people don't sort of understand. They don't see how much work literally goes into the seconds that are on the screen.
Yeah, there's so much. Like there's a job that I did before Hollyoaks. I did the Kingsman, the third one, and this will show you how much money is in it as well. So I did this. It's a scene. It was like a pub scene, and we was there for like 2 days filming this pub scene, and then we filmed this like frontline battle going over the trenches for like a few days as well. Scene didn't get used. The scene was about a page, maybe a page and a half long.
Yeah.
And they spent like a week filming it and they didn't even use it.
How frustrating is that? Like, is it frustrating to sort of...
I still got paid and I can still say I've got it as a credit even though I'm not on screen.
It's on your IMBD, isn't it? I noticed that before when I was having a little nosy through just for seeing what I'd missed.
Anyway.
Yeah, but got paid.
But yeah, and then like the Stay Close gig, like that was again just another mad one. Like I left Hollyoaks and I was a bit nervous because I started Hollyoaks before COVID. I was on it for like 3-4 months. About 3 months, COVID hit. Was out for like 4 months, and then I was back again for another 4-5 months, and then maybe a bit longer. And then I was a bit worried because I thought, well, all the productions are sort of either shut down or it's backlogged for things that were meant to film that haven't filmed yet. Like, it's this weird. The industry's just had this weird sort of. It got affected in a bizarre way, as with a lot of industries. But yeah, I'd sort of left that show thinking, shit, is there going to be another job there, or I'm going to have to wait for a year or two? Like, what? How does this work now? I'm a bit anxious, really. I got a different job before the Stay Close. I got a BBC gig, Flatmates, which was class. Went over to Ireland for that, Northern Ireland for that. That was fun. And then straight off the back of that, Stay Close came through, and Daniel O'Hara, the director, was and is fab. I worked with him again last year. Yeah, it was just mad, just like proper big boy set. It felt like all of a sudden.
Mate, I was fucking buzzing. I put it on and I didn't even I didn't know. And I was like, fuck off. I was like, this is sick. And when you just popped up, I was like, this guy. But like, how is it playing, sort of? Because when you did Jordan and Hollyoaks, that was a bit of a bad boy again. And like, I found it quite sort of, because I know you. Like, he's such a sweet guy. He's just dead sound. And like, obviously, sorry mate. He's a mean bruiser. But but like, look at them. Look at the gun show right there. But like, do you get any shit for playing them characters? Sort of like, you get like the nice people that can sort of differentiate it, but some people can't, can they? Some people like you a dickhead.
Yeah, I am. Hollyoaks, I used to get it a little bit, just like some fans who I think can take it as real life occasionally, or like they'll or even if they don't take it as real life, they just really buy into it.
Yeah, really literal.
Yeah. So like I'll get a couple messages, or I used to get a couple messages every so often from people who they'd be like, stop bullying Sid, or stop trying to get Sid or Juliet to do this, and it's like you just have to ignore it or take it with a pinch of salt. Or some people just tell you, see you next Tuesday. Do you know what I mean? Like,
you can swear your door.
Like, yeah, all right, cheers, mate. Nice one.
Yeah.
Still watching the show, so whatever.
Yeah.
But not so much. Like, I've not really had anything from doing a drama like the Stay Close, for instance. But it's weird because like with Stay Close, it was like when I auditioned and when I got the job offer through, like I spoke to Daniel, and like I was speaking to Daniel over the phone, the director, and we was talking about like, oh, the show's really good. Like, we've sent you all the episodes before you read them. Like, you're so pivotal. Like, it's all about you going missing, and like we're trying to find you, and it's all about you. So like, I got in my head, I was like, oh my god, this is mega. But I missed like the key bit where it's like you go missing.
Yeah.
So you're definitely on screen.
Yeah. You got to be in the boot.
So, like, yeah. It's like I only did like 2 days filming on that.
Wow.
Which was mad.
Yeah.
Like, and then the impact it had afterwards of like, it went to like number one on Netflix for like ages, and like I used to get messages constantly, and like that's what people knew me as for quite a while after. And it was like, it's just weird. Like, I was on Hollyoaks for like every day, 5 days a week filming. Don't get me wrong, I got a big following off that. But then just to do 2 days, people still recognise you from just doing 2 days filming. It's just interesting, I think.
I imagine, obviously not putting words in your mouth, but people perceive actors in a quite a fickle way. So you normally get associated, don't you, with like a role. And I think like was that a worry when you sort of went on Hollyoaks to have like, like a 12-month of being there every day, sort of, like a bit of a heel character as well, to sort of be billed as like, oh, he's that guy from Hollyoaks?
A little bit. I think with like a 6-month year contract, it's not it's not too much work. I think if I did like 2-3 plus years, I'd be a bit more anxious about that potentially. But like with a year, the thing is with a year, you can, with any aspiring actor who gets an opportunity to do so or audition, like a year or a 6-month contract is a good amount of time. Like you can get in and out.
Yeah.
You get, it's enough time to build like a nice character and to get a good storyline. You can get any nominations that you might get along the way, like, which is always a nice little bonus. But because soap is continuous, there's a new episode every day. As soon as you leave, after a month, there's been 30 new episodes, or whatever, like 20 new episodes that have come out, that people will remember those episodes because they're more recent. So like, after a month, you'll already start to fade. But obviously, if you've been in it for like a few years, you're a bit more embedded and sort of rooted in that as culture in that sense. So I wasn't too worried about the typecast, but it's always nice playing bad guys anyway.
Yeah, I can imagine.
We've got to bully kids for like a year on Hollyoaks.
They've got to scream at people and get paid for it.
It was cathartic. Like, when do you get the chance to scream at a person in your everyday life? Just like, I just got to let out all my anger.
Yeah.
And I think it was great.
And people be like, fucking great job, mate. Great job. Keep that up. And you're like,
really, it was great acting.
Yeah. And you're like, oh shit, acting. Sorry.
I was making up the lines. I was just winging it.
Yeah. Just someone's cut you off on your way there and you're like, right, this is the fuel today.
Yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned something before a while back now. So you mentioned about sort of keeping everyday distractions from acting, and maybe not putting words in your mouth, but just how I perceived it, what you said, sort of splitting the two up. So like Connor everyday, Connor the actor. What do you do? What are sort of the things you go to sort of like de-stress, remove yourself from that?
Just something, it kind of changes sort of every so often. Like, I was in a phase of going to the gym quite a bit. I don't go as much as I'd like to now, to be fair, but like I was going to the gym quite a lot. That was a nice sort of de-stress. Like, currently it's like my PlayStation, if I'm being honest. Like going on to Call of Duty, even though that gets my blood boiling.
That would not be cathartic for me.
It's a weird de-stress just to like let out steam. I'm cooking at the minute, like trying to cook more, like enjoying that. We've got 2 dogs that just distract everything.
Yeah.
Like, we're in the process of like moving and all that sort of stuff. So it's like, it's just nice to have distractions around you. We're planning a wedding as well. So it's like we've got so much that I can distract myself with, which is nice. So yeah, I think but it changes. Like I said, like it used to be the gym was like constant, and then like I say, like within a few months, like I dropped from going 5-6 days a week to then all of a sudden I'm just doing 2 days a week, and I'm doing like PlayStation more now, or like cooking more.
Yeah,
it's it kind of depends. It depends on what it is, but it's nice to have a few different things around me that can keep me entertained, because I'm just like a big kid basically.
And that is the beauty of it, mate. I think that's important, and you've got to do what you enjoy and find that balance.
Yeah,
I sort of wanted to pick at that a little bit, because I can imagine it's so consuming, when you're on set and you've got a job to do and you want to do it really well, because this one, it's not like turning up to work every day, when you've got a contract and, you can turn up and have a shit day, but you're going to be in again tomorrow. You're going to be in this, that, the other. But, if you have a bad week and you've only got 4 days in that week, but that casting director might speak to the next casting director and be like, fuck it, watch out for that X person. You've got to sort of be on the ball a lot, haven't you? You've got to be there and be present. And I imagine it's very difficult not to get all consumed by it. Yeah,
it is tough. It's like, I think that was my problem at first, was because I'd done it I'd done acting at like Will and Away, then I'd done it at high school, then I'd done it at college, then I'd done it at drama school, and then I went straight into work. Like, you hear a lot of people saying you need to get a bit more life experience. I used to hate it because I was like, I don't know what that fucking means. I'm too young to have life. What was that?
Yeah.
What are you on about?
Just bollocks in it.
Yeah, and it's like I was so hyper fixated on acting and I need to do this, I need to get the job, What's the point of going to drama school if I'm not focusing on, if I'm putting myself in debt and studying for 3 years, 9 till 6 p.m. every day? I want to get the fucking job, I want to get the payoff for it, I want to get sort of the good side now, so as it were. And I think it's like I say, it's only fairly recently where I've kind of gone, no, there's a bit more to it. There's a bit more. Because if you're at a social event and you're with a casting director, like, the last thing you want to chat about is acting or work. It's like if you work at a gym and then you go out for a bevy with your boss after and you're just talking about gym equipment.
Yeah.
Or you're talking about exercise routines and you're just like, talk about anything else.
Yeah.
Talk about literally anything else.
Please let me have just 10 minutes not thinking about it.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, but if you've not got anything else in your life to talk about, it's hard. And I think that's what I struggled with a bit.
Yeah.
So like, that's why it's like having the 2 dogs, trying to like, the house that we're in now, it's like trying to like not renovate it per se, but just like decorate it or like make cooking and going out for walks and just doing things. It's like, it gives you something to chat about. Ultimately, it just gives you something to like, when you're in a social situation where you don't have to go, I love acting, me. I love it so much. Acting, I'm doing it since I was a kid. It's like you've got something else to chat about.
What's your fun fact? I love acting. Like,
I mean, fun fact about yourself, my name's Connor and I just love acting.
Yeah. It was, I used to work at Man United Superstore, but now it's I love acting.
Yeah.
But yeah. I tell you what though, one thing I am interested in, because you mentioned your transition from, eating pot noodles to now cooking. What's your go-to meal? What's your go-to make at the minute? Don't say pot noodles.
Do you know something? I try and make something new constantly. Like I like pasta. I like just having like a nice pasta dish.
Yeah.
But like, what did I do? I did lasagna the other day. I mean, that's pasta in it. What the fuck am I on about? There's your clip. Lasagna the other week. Like, I made bagels from scratch, which was just like mega.
That's impressive. That
I was buzzing with them.
Yeah.
I do like beef burgers, like just whatever, like anything, salmon, like whatever I can just whack together.
Love that. I love cooking. I think it's super stressful, but like when you do it and you taste it, you're like, this is fucking banging.
Me, cooking isn't stress, it's the clean up, that's the stress. Trying to keep a clean station, that's the hard bit. But
I don't think it's possible.
It's not.
It's not. Do you
you've got someone whose job it is
there's a paid dishwasher. Like that's my point when me and my missus are arguing about it. Like, do you have a system at home? Is it like if one of you makes tea, the other one does the clean up? But do you find that you always end up arguing with each other, vice versa, regardless? It's like, well, I actually chopped some peppers, so I think you should help me tidy up now.
Yeah, but I'm usually on the losing end of that.
So best thing we ever did was get a dishwasher, but even that is an arduous task in itself.
We got rid of ours, and then we was like, that was a big mistake.
First world problems. But
clean things with my hands.
Yeah. What? God. Right. Some things that I always like to ask people, like when we get into it, is if there's 3 habits that you currently do and that you'd recommend to like maybe the everyday person or even like the aspiring actor. They're very different questions then, so just pick one. I'm not particularly precious about it. What would them 3 habits be and why?
That's a good question. I think the big one, I think I'm thinking of it in terms of acting, but I guess it applies regardless to anybody. Like, just do it. Just do whatever it is that you're trying to do. Like, I just done some workshops with actors, and it was just chatting about like the industry and the business side of it all. And like a big part of what you've got to do is network, and like you've got to put in the like room, you've got to actually do it. Like, we were talking about like sending emails. I said a lot of actors say, "Oh, I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to do it." And then you've got to tell them, like, right, you've got to reach out to people then, because at the minute nobody knows who you are, so you've got to put your face out there. So you've got to type a nice little email out, format it nicely, whatever, and then send it. And it's like, I'll give that as homework to somebody. Like the next week, I'll be like, "Oh, did you send the email?" And say, "Oh, well, I've had work this week," or like the cat's been dead sick, or like it's just been a mental week, and I'm like, okay, fair, but are you just making an excuse because you're a bit nervous to send it? I was like, you're in the exact same position if you send it and nothing happens.
Yeah.
Like, you send an email, they just don't reply. You're in the exact same position.
What's the worst that can happen?
Exactly. So it's like, if you want to do something, like, just do it. Don't make the excuse to not do it. Just get on with it. Because 9 times out of 10, it's always a good thing. Like, good thing come from it. Even if it's an immediate good thing, it might be that you just get a bit more confidence for the next email or for the next interaction with whoever it is.
Compounding into something bigger.
Yeah, exactly. So I think just get on with it, basically. Don't complain. I know it kind of goes hand in hand. I love a moan.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Sam.
But like, everybody's eating a shit sandwich.
I love that.
So like, just get on with it. It's fine. It's okay to moan about it. Don't get me wrong, but don't like use it as an excuse to be like, oh, I've had a shit week. It's like, yeah, well, I've had a shit week too, but
don't make it your glass ceiling. The fact that
exactly. Yeah. That's it. Like, everybody is going to have a shit day at some point, and some people have consistently shit days for a while. So like, just get on with it, because you don't want to complain about, oh, I've had a really shit day because like I haven't left the house and I feel a bit claustrophobic. But you don't know what shit day the other person's had, and they could have had.
Yeah.
What for you could be like a worse day.
And it's all relevant, isn't it? It's like your problems to you are like the worst ones, but sometimes you've got to take a step back and sort of be not grateful for your problems, but sort of have that insight to be like, it could be a lot worse. It could be better, but it could be a lot worse.
Yeah. But like, just don't worry about it. Like, things are going to go wrong. It's fine to moan about it and complain about it, but don't let it limit you, like you said. I don't know. Then like, have a laugh. Don't take it too seriously. Have a laugh. It's fine.
Love that.
It's like you said a second ago, like, everybody's eating a shit sandwich at some point. Like, try and laugh about something.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I feel I'm very fortunate with. Like, with Monica, my partner, we both just take the piss and laugh all the time. Yeah. Like, we try and really have a good laugh with each other, just because if you don't, you're going to fucking cry about something. So
yeah. You may as well try and see the positive in the negative rather than just let it, again, go back to being all-consuming.
Exactly. So I think, like, try and laugh about something once a day at least, minimum, and you'll be fine. You'll be absolutely fine.
It'll be good content for her anyway, if you did make a tit of yourself. So I imagine that it'd be great content for whatever she's 100%. Making next. How is that? How is it like, sort of with, like the sketches she does and stuff like that on TikTok and stuff? Like, is it strange, or are you just so used to it now with like...
I'm used to it now, but she's class.
Oh, she's so funny.
Like, I'd like to think I'm creative, but like, to come up with new content ideas daily, film them at a good quality as well. Like, they're not enough, like, they're good. Like, I think it's unreal. I think she's class at it. Like, it was weird. Like, when we first started dating, I kept saying she's an influencer to people, and she was like, no, I'm a content creator. And I didn't know the difference. But like, no, I do.
Yeah.
It completely makes sense when you say it, when you explain it. Like, she's not trying to influence people with her lifestyle. She's just creating content.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great because it's like, we just sit and laugh and film stupid videos. I mean, like, how can you say that's your job? Is you just sit and, like, she'll say, let's do a video about the neighbour.
Yeah.
What's the neighbour? It's like, oh, she's had a fucking go because your dog's barking. Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God. She's having a go because of this, you're having a party, or she's having a party and you're having a go. And it's just like, just be silly, just be stupid.
Just daily improv classes, mate. You're getting free improv classes for you.
So yeah. So it's great because, like, she's good, she's just good at it. But like, the household that we're in just feels really creative, just feels really like collaborative, really fun and relaxed, and like nothing serious. Everything's just a joke. Everything's just, let's make do with having a laugh. Basically.
Perfect. So, the opposite of that question I've just asked you. So I asked you 3 things you would recommend if there was one habit or routine that you wish you did and you could reintroduce it or introduce it into your life again, what would it be and why?
That's a good one. That's hard, isn't it?
That's the one that always gets people.
Currently, for me, anyway, and I think it comes and goes, but a little bit more structure to the day, because like the work that I'm in is so it's a free for all, basically. You don't know whether you're coming or going.
Yeah.
Like your daily routine can be like the structure for your day can be really up in the air. It's very easy to just get up in the morning, sit on your PlayStation for a full day, and then just go, oh shit, the day's gone, never mind.
Yeah.
Or it's very easy to get up in the morning, nap in the middle of the day, and just like sit about and twiddle your thumbs and do nothing.
Yeah.
I find myself doing that every so often, to be fair. So I think having like a structure to your day, like we get up because we've got the dogs, like the dogs are barking at like 6 a.m. because they want to go out for a wee. So it's like you're up at 6.
Yeah.
Even if you get in bed for another hour with the dogs, like you're up usually by about 7, half 7 late. So it's like you're up. I'll get up, I'll make a cup of coffee and a cup of tea for Monica. Like we'll sit and we'll have a chat and have our drinks and whatever. Get ready for the day, and then it's like either I'll try and do some writing or send some emails off, whatever it is. Film some stuff with Monica. We'll take the dogs out. So it's like you try and get a routine of some sort and a little bit of structure. Like I wish I had a little bit more discipline on that for myself, because like I say, I'll have it for a few days, and then a few days it'll just go out the window.
Yeah.
But it's hard because you just can't plan anything.
No, because it's so, like I said, it's so just what you might get a phone call and be like, you're in London tomorrow. You're like, shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like you try and plan things as and where you can, but you've kind of got to plan them with the knowledge that it can go completely out the window within an hour.
Everything's in pencil.
Exactly, yeah. Everything's penciled.
You just can't solidify it.
So it's easy to use that as an excuse to sort of mess with routine, which I have done, to be fair.
I love that. That's a good one. And it sort of shows that insight again to what people, they think like the red carpet and the glitz and glam, it's this good gig, but like, there's so much sort of discipline that goes into it and so much sacrifice, I imagine, to you might have plans, but you're like, sorry, I can't do that anymore. I've got to go and have an audition in London.
The amount of like birthdays, like catch ups, like going out for a drink and chatting with your mates, like that I've had to just cancel like last minute or like the night before or something. So many, like missing like important birthdays and christenings or all that sort of stuff. I can't because I'm in London.
Yeah.
I can't sit there, or I'm filming that day, so I can't do it. And it's like, I think that's another reason why it was just what we were chatting about earlier, like you've got to have a life outside of acting, and like whenever you get spare time and an opportunity to go and see people or spend time with people or do something, like try and utilise it, because it's easy to sort of tunnel vision on stuff sometimes. So yeah, routine.
One thing I want to ask you as well, just because it's something that I scribbled down this morning when I was like having to think about what to ask you. What is sort of your biggest sort of memorable moment or like starstruck moment of, getting into the industry?
The job that I've just finished on. Yeah, the job that I've just finished on. Like I can't. I don't know what I'm allowed to say.
Don't get yourself in trouble. Don't get yourself in trouble.
Like the thing's announced, but it's not announced that I'm part of it.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
So yeah.
It's a weird. But yeah, there's a cast member who's in that who is solely the reason why I'm acting.
Wow.
Like ultimately, like, and I had scenes with him, a couple of scenes with him. I was able to like sit and chat with him, and like I got an opportunity at the end of the shoot to sort of like go to his trailer and just like say, look, I've got to say it next. If I don't say it, I don't get an opportunity to work with you again. Like you're the reason I'm doing what I'm doing, so I just wanted to like thank you. And like, yeah, it was just a really nice sort of, we had a good chat. He was really complimentary. So yeah, like that, I think for me has been like the biggest peak so far in my career. And like, don't get me wrong, I've had a few other like great moments. I got to work with Edgar Wright, who's one of my top directors, in Last Night in Soho. I got to meet Ray Fiennes, which was mad. Like, I got to sit in a makeup chair next to fucking Voldemort. Like, that's just
What
mental.
a boyhood dream.
Like, that's just mental.
Fucking mad, mate. So
Sat next to
this one must be pretty fucking substantial then, you know, to be
like I
topping
said,
Edgar Wright and Voldemort.
it's mega. Yeah, so like
Wow.
I said, it should be, I think, like next January, February time. So it'll be plastered all over my social media when I'm allowed to.
Perfect segue, Matt. Before we end this, we'll have a little chat after we end it in a minute. But let people know where they can find you and keep up to date with these big things that are coming.
Oh mate, Instagram, that's the best place, to be honest. Just put my name in, Connor Calland, come up. I've got Twitter, but I don't use it. It terrifies me.
Yeah, it's a cesspool.
Yeah, like I had it and then it got hacked, so I made a new account and then so I just don't even use it. So to be fair, I think it's not even on my phone anymore. To be honest, I don't have Facebook. No, yeah, Instagram.
Perfect.
Instagram.
I'll put that down in the description for people to find you. And a massive thank you, Matt. Really appreciate your time. Really enjoyed it. It's brought back some good memories for me of my my thespian days. Like thinking about it again. But yeah, Matt, proud of you. You smashed it. Really, really cool to see your progression and the fact that you've sort of just took the bull by the horns and got there and just stuck with it. And now you're having these sort of these like experiences where you meet the person that got you into doing it, which I can imagine is so surreal. So yeah, man, smashing it. I look forward to seeing what you've got coming next.
Thank you, man. It'll be like I said, it'll be plastered everywhere. So
I'm sure we'll keep an eye on it. Right. Sign.
Cheers.